Tonight, a snake scandal in Florida.
I can't watch it. It's like watching someone kill my kids.
We warn you, the video is upsetting.
Some are very upset, calling what happened cruel and inhumane.
Just to warn you, you may find this video disturbing.
It's the sound the owner of these snakes could not bear to hear, so he left the room.
Why?
It was a mistake.
How? I reminded you 10 times! You just killed something that wasn't illegal.
This is just horrifying.
Did the FWC screw up here?
Absolutely, the FWC screwed up here.
Let's talk about the Holy Thursday Massacre. First of all, I think it's a stupid name. There's nothing holy about what happened. It should be called the Disgusting Thursday Massacre. Clint Reptiles has done a crazy amount of research on everything of this, so you can go check out Clint's video. It's 3 hours long. Let's cover it. It's kind of like reptile news. I'm making a reptile news playlist that this is going to go into, where we cover just the events that happen in the reptile community or whatever, the big things that affect us. It doesn't affect us so much in Canada, because in Canada we're not really allowed to have reticulated pythons and snakes like that. This is also part of why I got rid of all of mine, because I didn't want to ever have to see anyone take my snakes and murder them. Yeah, a bill was passed or a law was passed where people were told they had a certain amount of time to move their snakes. They had to get their snakes out of the state.
There's two things you could have done since you didn't liquidate by the end of July. Apply to be a public exhibitor, meaning you would have to have opened up, had business hours, money, like a pet shop almost.
I told you I would do that, but you couldn't give me the answer if I'm allowed to do that. I asked you if I could do that.
Here's the deal.
I asked you what I could do to continue to keep my snakes. When I've contacted your Tallahassee 15 times.
Okay.
I've left 15 messages. Nobody calls me back. And then when you called me, I asked you tons of questions, which you said you would find the answer for.
Okay.
I knew the date to stop. I stopped selling.
We can't. Our hands are tied. Okay, we're not.
But I mean, it's not like I didn't do anything.
No.
I did all I could do.
Okay, your permits, your license that you applied for. I'm telling you right now, they're not being approved.
They cashed my check.
I didn't know either until...
See, that's what's up about the whole thing. Nobody knows. I've been calling and calling and calling. I'm very mad right now. I want to flip out.
Don't flip. Hey, we're not the ones. We're not the ones.
You say you're the boots on the ground. I get it, but you told me that last time I was here, so I've been calling Tallahassee like crazy.
This guy tried to comply. Like, he moved snakes. He moved, I believe, over 100 snakes. And this is a guy's facility. It's his living. They're his animals. When you get into snake breeding, lots of the time the pet stores, they buy animals wholesale and then they resell them. But breeders, like, we spend years acquiring animals and progressing projects. When I got my first pair of snakes that I wanted to breed with, I knew buying them was going to be a 4-year journey, and then after that 4-year journey, another 4 years. So I had like 8-year, 12-year plans from the time that I started breeding snakes over a decade ago. So understanding that breeders, when they get certain animals, they love them. It's like their pets. It's like their family members. We take care of them. We clean them all the time. We handle them and we grow them, and then they make babies for us and we get to see those babies, and it's exciting, and then we grow those babies, and you grow families in your facilities. And this guy has basically spent who knows how many years raising and taking care of these animals. So first of all, then being told, okay, now you got to take all those animals and get them out of here. That's hard enough. And he had around 36 snakes left. And then the time came where they basically, okay, now at this point, you're not allowed to have these snakes. Now you've broken the law. So Fish and Wildlife came to him. And now the thing is that he tried to do everything properly. He tried to get permits. He reached out. He asked them, hey, what can I do now? Is there any way I can extend this? Is there any way I can keep these animals?
I'm just upset that I try to do the right thing. I try to get in touch with your bosses. They won't call me back. They don't want to be involved with me. It's almost like they want you to fail so that this could happen right here that's happening.
you're being charged with the possession of the Burmese pythons and the reticulated pythons without a proper permit from Fish and Wildlife from the state of Florida, okay?
I knew something was wrong, and you could have just been straight up with me.
Here's the thing, we don't usually tell people that they're going to get a ticket.
The whole thing about being arrested is like, or being charged is worse to me
I understand.
than that, because I go through life making sure I do the right things and I don't get in trouble.
I understand.
And then
And
something like this happens.
with all these rules, things have changed from when you first got your you noticed the change. There's always been a change.
You told me to do it. You know that I did. You know that. You were here. You documented. I had about 140
let me give you another example. All the green iguana tegu stuff, all permit holders that were commercial and sold, they've got a memo. They're not going to list.
I don't care about that. I'm
Yeah,
just
they're not-
telling
well, see,
you that
we're not
you told
gonna
me to
list.
liquidate them. I did.
They did.
I just
You
got
were-
stuck with these. I
Tallahassee-
wasn't able to get rid of them in the time frame. You said stop. I followed the law. I stopped.
Okay.
So I got this here.
Tell it to the judge.
So he was trying to do his best, and it almost be like I'm trying to get a license and I'm going to the ministry saying, hey, can I please have my papers? What can I do? They don't respond. They don't get back to him. And then the Fish and Wildlife Police show up and they say, well, now you're being charged with having these animals that you're not allowed to have. You're taking a regular citizen that has a business that's like doing good and stuff and taking care of animals, and you're turning him into a criminal like this just for keeping some animals that he's raised. And it's just absolutely disgusting, and it gets worse. So they come in and they start euthanizing his snakes, and first they want to ask him to hold down his own snake. Like, okay, so I'm going to take you and get you to hold down your pet. Imagine someone said you're going to hold down your pet dog, and then we're going to pressure hit it with a pole that's going to shoot through its brain.
FWC did not follow the procedure for using this bolt gun device. The gentleman who was using the bolt gun never used it before.
Center it. Okay. Just pull. It's a safety, and then you just kind of bang on the top. You'll hear.
Like that's even more ultra disgusting. Like, it just gets nastier and horrendous. And then on top of that, they ended up killing one of his gravid, pregnant boas. So he literally had a sign on the cage that said, like, don't do this one.
It's a boa constrictor.
And he told them multiple times, leave this one alone. And then they took that snake and they killed it. They killed a pregnant boa with all her babies inside it. And, like, it's just gross, like, just gross, disgusting, terrible, what they did. Just the way that they looked, the attitude that they had, they just looked like a pile of like frat boys, like, oh yeah, we're just doing this. It's just like there was no dignity that they gave those animals.
No, you're fine. Your palm is going to start to hurt. Your palm's going to hurt.
Yeah.
There was no dignity that they had themselves. They just like, yeah, we're just grabbing them and killing them and like smiling and stuff. It's just, it's horrendous, and I think that people like that shouldn't have that job. I think that people should be selected that are sensitive, and that, like, you're already doing something terrible. There's nothing funny or joyous about it. And when the snakes are wiggling and stuff as like they're dying, like, that's not a funny thing. The people that are doing this should know the difference between a reticulated python and a boa. Like, how do we have people that are supposed to be regulating things that don't know the difference between a reticulated python and a boa? Like, they shouldn't be in that job if they don't know what it is, and that's horrendous. So that's basically all I have to say about that. Could this all happen here? Just in general, yes, people, look at everything. Everything's run by fear. Everyone's afraid to be able to say anything or feel anything because of the repercussions that will come from that. That's our world now, where more people don't want something and they just have to accept it because of the few people that make things a nightmare for everyone. Yeah, most people are probably afraid of snakes. I used to be afraid of snakes, and because of that fear, oh man, I don't want to have snakes like that. And I'm just thinking, like, people from the outside watching this happening, like on the news or whatever, I could just see them seeing the huge snakes and being like, oh my goodness, thank God they're gone. Thank goodness they're not here anymore. Like, what kind of crazy people keep animals like that? Because they don't understand that snakes are wonderful. And snakes very much, like, if you don't know much about snakes, and I don't know how you ended up here, but snakes are very much like cats. When you think about a cat and how easy it is to get a cat to bite you or scratch you, because everybody knows that. Everyone can think of a cute little cat, but they know it'll scratch or bite you super easily. And to me, a snake will take twice as much work as a cat. So I say they're kind of like twice as nice as cats are. And just like a cat won't like follow you around and like maybe love you as much, they come when they want something, snakes are kind of like, they'll do whatever they want. And just because they'll do whatever they want doesn't mean they're not capable. I think that snakes are capable of doing a lot more than we think that they can, but they just choose not to because they don't care to. There's not a good enough reason. They're kind of like they're sitting on the couch watching.
And he's a sweetheart. Aren't you? Yes, you are. You're a sweetheart. Oh, are you running away? She's not ready to go home yet. She's like, no, I want to explore. Fun to kind of like have these animals and raise them from the time they're babies and watch them go outside and explore and have fun. Some people say that they don't enjoy this, that it makes no difference. Yeah, get over here, baby. But they do. They have a good time outside.
TV, and you're like, hey, come and do the dishes, and they're like, nope, why would I want to do that? I'm not gonna do it. And that's not me, I do all the dishes, okay? So it's just crazy that projects, and by projects I mean we spend years to try and make these snakes different colors, and over the generations of breeding these snakes, if the time is put into them, you end up with tame, sweet animals that like you love, that don't love you, but they like you, that they trust you, that they feel comfortable around you. And just seeing something like this happen is terrible. And it's probably going to continue happening and getting worse unless everyone gets together and fights the people doing the stupid things. I'm going to leave a link to there's like a GoFundMe or whatever to try and help the guy get some money for what's happened to him, because his whole like livelihood just got destroyed and now he's like labeled as a criminal, and what this whole thing, it's absolutely disgusting. I have lots of content coming to you. I've had a very rough time. Like I've just come out of the roughest time of my life. COVID totally ruined my hair salon, and then YouTube messed me up because I got hacked into. Dave Coffin gave me a copyright strike and that helped too. Then I've had kidney stones, first gallstones, then kidney stones, and I'm banned from reptile shows, so I'm not allowed to sell at reptile shows because people don't like me because of sharing stuff on YouTube and just kind of being open, honest with everything, and there's people that don't like me, so it's based off of nothing. All the animals are doing great. I only did one pairing this year, so out of all the animals I have as a reptile breeder, I didn't breed any ball pythons. I put my green tree pythons together. Eventually we're gonna have green tree python babies, but they still might not be ready. I've raised them for years, so they're ready. We're gonna eventually have green tree python babies. I've slowed down on the boas because when boas breed, they have a lot of babies, but we have Annie, and the only reason Annie even bred was because reptiles, when they go through their cycles and everything, just like the geckos. So the female leopard geckos. I have some of them together, and I don't want them to breed. I took them away from the males. So the whole season they haven't been with the males. They've just been together, and now kind of breeding season comes and they start laying eggs. And then they start losing like body fat and like nutrients that they need, and it's so annoying because it's like I literally wanted to give them the time off, and I'm not putting them with males now, but now they're laying infertile eggs, so they're still wasting all that energy when I don't want them to. And sometimes reptiles will do that. So sometimes if you've had a snake with a male, they can retain that sperm for years. So then if they feel like just making babies, they can just make babies. Or they could go through the cycle of making babies and then produce a whole pile of slugs for you. So I saw that Annie was going through her cycle. Like she was going through ovulation, and she was going through all the things that basically just said, I want to make babies. So I didn't want her to go through that and then have some sort of, unfertilized slugs or whatever. So I put Bond with her. He usually lives with her anyways, because I was going to I separated my boas so that they don't breed, but I ended up putting him back with her, and now we have one litter this year. It's a killer litter though. It's amazing. We're going to have Anery Motley IMGs, so I'm really excited about that. I still kind of plan to wait a year to do that, but her body was saying, hey, I want to have babies, so we're going to have those babies. I'm going to be pumping out videos like crazy, a lot more, so you're going to see a lot more of me. I hate YouTube. I love YouTube for the opportunity that it's created to be able to talk to all you guys, but at the same time I hate the way that it just works where there's no customer service, you can't talk to anyone, and all the creators that, even make good money for themselves, they're making better money for YouTube, and YouTube has no way of letting you talk to anyone unless you do it over like text, where you text them and you're like, hey, I have a problem with this, and they send you like, did you know that you could do this, and it's like, yeah, but I can't because there's no actual support or help. I basically just have to pump out tons of content and feed the YouTube machine and make it happy, but it's just been a struggle. I've been doing this now for 3 years, and not being able to be monetized is rough. So if you do want to help out at all, I have a Patreon now, and now that Patreon has Discord benefits, eventually it might have more. If you would like to, join the Patreon, that would be very helpful, especially considering I make absolutely no money off of YouTube, and now I can't make any money at reptile shows either. Things are rough, things are very hard, but I'm going to find a way to get out of it. I'm not one to give up. Never give up, never surrender. Most of you guys that watch me are not in Canada. You're not in Ontario. I need people in Ontario, Toronto, Canada to watch more and participate. I have to find a way to do that, and then eventually I'm going to start doing my own little reptile shows, maybe little reptile meets or something with local people, and I'd love for eventually to be able to have fun doing that, because I've always been about sharing with you and showing people reptiles, and I love them. I think I'm a pretty good advocate for reptiles, but people just don't like me. I'm not going to sacrifice who I am. I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not. I can't do that, okay? But I still love you all, and thank you for being there. I have 10,000 subscribers, but I really only feel like there's about 20 of you that are really there. I really appreciate you hanging out with me when I'm cleaning animals and spending time, and just your kindness, and every time that one of you, says something encouraging, it makes my day, and I appreciate you. It's just something that I do with Avery. I mostly just do this all mostly on my own. My wife, she works hard and she does her stuff, but she has no interest really in this kind of stuff. She thinks it's silly. So it's hard to kind of do something when you feel like everyone around you just basically makes you feel like you can't do it, or you're stupid for doing it, or it's just a joke, or it's just a dream. I told Ariel, I'm like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, we're going hard. So like I've been editing videos every single day and posting them across the channels, and getting up and working out, and like trying to just do everything to like put into what you want, right? Because no one can make your dreams happen for you. You know, sometimes people get fortunate and I haven't been one of those people. Everything I've ever achieved has just been from work and not giving up and believing in me, even if people don't, or even if I'm not liked. It doesn't matter. Those people can't stop me. Okay, that's enough rambling on about myself. Thank you.